top. That's how my whole shit's gone. It's topping, nothing but topping and fimming.
Well, I was
Spreading
trying to
out a
top
little bit
all
here
of
and
them.
there
There
just
was
to
two
open
of
the
them.
middle up.
I messed up on one of those white widows, and I messed up on one of the shredders. And I can definitely tell the difference between those two shredders, man. It's a big difference. The Rasta Jeff stuff really likes to be topped. It comes out much better when you top it.
Dude,
I had one big, huge cola that
yeah,
probably weighs 13, 14 grams, but the rest of them are all littler, where
if
the
you
one that I topped, man, that one has 10 huge buds on it because they all caught up even with each other.
yep, if you only top once, cut that middle. Cut that middle fucking one that's streaking up, and it'll increase the density, the THC content, and probably your yield more than if you left it in that Christmas tree growing style.
Right.
I need to cut my lights off. I will be back in a minute.
And I personally top autos anywhere between that 14-day and 21-day time zone. Just in week 3 is what I generally say.
Okay. Because that's something I'll be doing that next. I've got your autos, and I've got Coastal Mary's wedding cake going in the outdoor grow. And, I didn't know if I was going to top those or not, but now that I talk to you, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just got, go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, I say in that 3rd week between 14 and 21 days, if you watch your lower 2 nodes, as soon as those start to stretch is when I go ahead and rip the top off. Those will start to come out, and then that's when I'll go ahead, I'll take the top so that it really just shoots all those auxins down. They were already about to start stretching, and now they just go into power mode and catch up with the rest of it.
Okay.
Since we're on the subject of autos, I had a message today from somebody that I ain't talked to in a while, and it was Breed for the North, Outdoors Craftsman. Is that his name? Y'all know who I'm talking about, I'm pretty sure.
I think
Brett
that's
from the North, yeah.
Yeah. And anyways, he had sent me, remember them Autoflowers I had? And he said they were unstable, had me yank them all out of my room about 4 or 5 months back. Well, he sent me a message today, didn't realize I had a new account. And he's like, hey, you want any Autoflowers? And I said, yeah, I'm getting ready to throw some outside, as soon as I get home. And he's like, is it warm up there? I said, it ain't the warmest yet, but I just want to see how some of this stuff will react. If it goes slow from being cold at night, if it just test it, and that's what I'm going to do with some of yours too, outdoors. But he wants to send me some of his and throw them outdoor and see how they do with the colder temps early on and stuff. So, that kind of stuff intrigues me. And that's what I like to do. Push the limits and see what you can get out of the worst elements and try to let the plant do itself, but help it manipulate. You know what I mean?
No, I'm right with you. I love doing all the things that you're not supposed to do, doing those hydro grows without pHing and, running a whole grow at 8.5 or, doing 2 liters with like soil and cocoa 50-50, but like 0 aeration outside of that, like no perlite, no nothing. Just to see what happens. I wish I could go outside. I would love to watch what happens with my plants outside one day, but not yet. But no, that doing all the things wrong. I had it on my profile forever. I do it wrong, but somehow I end up right. So I must be doing something. I exhaust 24/7. To this day, I still, my fans are just always on. Even when my lights aren't on, the last few weeks, I've had all my exhaust fans still going. They never cut off. I don't do the, turn them off and on during the day and night and adjust for humidity. They're just on. And as a general rule, just ambient humidity in my area, it works because I'm about 50-60% right in that zone where you want to be pretty much throughout the grow anyway. If you had to pick a number to stay consistent at, that's the one. So I don't have that much of an issue. I used to not exhaust at night my first run because, you know, I thought I was exhausting heat. And with the lights not on, I didn't need to exhaust heat, so I can turn off my exhaust at night, right? I did it for the whole grow. Somehow miraculously did not end up with any mold, powdery mildew, nothing. But I attribute that to having too much air blowing around because I've always had two oscillating fans in there. And when I started out, I had a 2.5 foot by 2.5 foot tent with two tower fans, like the old Homes 32-inch tower fans blowing in each corner, oscillating on these plants. So I'm pretty sure that's how I managed to not get a mildew or mold. But no, I love doing it wrong. Doing it right, you get a higher yield and, you know, generally better results. But it's fun to learn why. And you can only do that by doing it wrong.
I keep my exhaust fan going, circulating all the time. I'm just learning about tent growing, and I've heard rumors of huge levels of condensation buildup on the inside walls of the tent if you shut your exhaust fans and stuff off at night. And seeing how I can't be there every day, every morning to check on my plant, that's a huge risk, right? Where they're staying for the time being, they might only get looked at once every 2-3 days, right? They're literally just being kept alive for me until I can get them into a different place. So I just figured, screw it. Don't even take that chance. And then I was worried about light leaks getting in because they are in my bloom phase. So I've got a whole bunch of duct outputs for to run tubing at the top and bottom of my tent. So instead of having an exposed bottom where light could get in there and leak, I'm just gonna take an 8-inch ducting, run it from there, and just loop it up and over the tent, and it'll still be sucking from the bottom and intaking from the bottom. You have to do a loop up and over the tent. It's not going to be able to get in through that, in theory, right? Any light from the room won't be able to get into the tent to disrupt the light cycle. Does that make sense? What I'm getting at?
Make sure your ducting is black on the interior. Yep. Because if not, you're just going to bounce light through that silver ducting all the way down and into your tent.
Yep. Yep. I was thinking about that. And then also take some like mosquito or something like that and taping that around on the bottom of it just to keep anything small particulate for critters or whatever from getting up in there too.
Yeah, it sounds right.
Okay, right on. So I like it, getting the hype seal of approval because like I said, new to this, and just as soon as I looked at it, I'm just like, okay, I can do a little bit of retrofitting here and make it a little bit better for my purposes. So we'll see how that all works out.
Dude, I always exhausted when I was in a tent at night. It didn't matter. My exhaust fan was on constantly, like just even my interior, even the fans that blow around in there, just because. You know it's gonna get sucked up through your, you know, whatever light you're using, or if you're not using an enclosed light, but you do have an exhaust set up, it's still pushing air. You know what I'm saying? It's keeping that movement going. You know, so that was always my thought process behind it. You know, just to help escape that air, maybe sucking some new fresh air from wherever. You know, but I'm talking about when I was growing in a tent, baby.
No, I know, and I'm talking about the oxygen levels. So.
Nobody got nothing?
Well, I know, like, I don't even have an exhaust fan. So I open up both of my bottom vents during the day and open up the top vent. And, you know, I get airflow going through there. And then at night, I just shut up the vent at the top and close up those vents while after I go to bed, when the light goes off, then boom, they're done for the night. Then I open it up in the morning. It worked out good. I didn't have any problems with before I learned to open those vents up, though. I did have exactly what Cariboo was talking about. I got up one day and there was water running down the inside of my tent. And I'm like, oh no, and that was the last time I did that. After that, it was open up the vents, and I just opened them up in the morning before I went to work and closed them up after the lights went out at night.
Okay, so that's good to know as well.
I'm the same way as you, Driz. And where my Autoflower in that 2x2 tent, I don't have no exhaust or anything in there, but I keep a little fan on. And then during the day, for 12 hours out of the day, while the rest of my lights are on in the flower room, I open that tent open. But there's times when I'll go down there in the morning and I see a few drops on the sides, but I'll go ahead and I'll take my hand up all through all the leaves to make sure there ain't no moisture sticking and kind of do that. But I don't have to water as much.
Yeah, if there's moisture, that's fine as long as it gets a chance to dry out. Otherwise, you're going to end up getting like powdery mildew or mold in there in between the buds. You got to make sure that it has good airflow in order so that it don't mold or rot.
Johnny,
nothing worse than spending all that time and having bud rot.
Yeah. Did you say that because of that humidity buildup or whatever, you didn't have to water as frequently?
I slowed down on my watering.
It's because they were sucking it through the leaves, and that's why you want to keep your humidity down. So therefore, it wasn't taking in any nutrients every time it drank because you didn't, unless you foliar spray, and that's why some people foliar spray. Oh, the newts are in the roots, so if the leaves are sucking moisture and keeping the plant alive, it doesn't drink from the roots and take in any of the shit we're putting into it and we're spending our money and time and energy into. See what I'm saying? So that high humidity stops you from taking in nutrients.
Well, it's that red velvet. So in about 11 days, I'll let you know if it worked or not.
Well, I ain't gonna say it destroyed your crop or anything like that. I'm just saying that when you have a high humidity like that, the reason to keep it lower is so that it does drink from the roots and take in the nutrients. Unless you are foliar feeding, that's when it can take things in from the actual leaves and shit. If you have an issue where like your humidity is kind of high, it will raise the humidity, but keep in mind the stuff does kind of dry away pretty quick.
Filed away.
I got a new toy today. You guys want to see it?
What'd you get? What'd you get?
I'm scared.
Right, check it out. Ready? No, okay. It's actually one of these. I guess I could have pulled this out my ass. It's one of those fucking dab. It's like a straw or whatever, but it's made out of the fucking what do they call this shit? Silicone.
Silicone.
Right. But it came with a glass tip or whatever, but the tip comes out pretty easily. You pop it in. But I got tired of guessing with this whole banger bullshit because I was pretty convinced I was wasting more than anything else. So I went back to the whole like just straw dabbing. And let me tell you, like, I fucking love this thing. I saved so much on my dabbing. It's unbelievable. Like, I'm going to take one in like 10 minutes. Shit hits like Tyson. And I don't waste half of my fucking dab. I'll be like, oh shit, I didn't get the thing hot enough. Or I got it too fucking hot. You know, I got a better idea of what's going on with this rather than a glowing red fucking thing. And then after a little while, it does build up some kind of carbon. And then it gets tough to even tell if the thing's glowing until it's actually glowing halfway up the fucking thing. And then you're like, I wonder how hot that is. You know, like, I don't know. I think dabbing straws are way cooler and easier.
My favorite thing about those and like nectar collector style of dabbers is that it's an adjustable hooter, basically. Like if you want to take a massive dab, you can really dig that fucking thing in there and just like whale it back. Or if you just, I just want a little pull. Okay, you just give it a little bit of a nick with the tip of it, and then you're like, oh, you know what? I need a little bit more, and then you just go give it a quick nick again, and then you get that exact pull you want. So an adjustable hoot is what I like to call it, and fucking rates profit. They're great.
That would have been gone like in 3 or 4 hits. I've already hit it 6 times just because of that, and they're like great hits. This is actually made from the cookie Kush. I don't know if you guys can actually see the.
Hey, Prophet, I got the same exact setup you got right there.
What, this?
Yep, I got it from my grow shop guy.
Yeah.
He's got that them,
Nice.
and I went in there to buy one, and I see that's all he had, and I'm like, oh, I tried it. I didn't like it at first, but I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. You know, I'm kind of slow sometimes.
Did you
But
use the
now that I
glass tip first, or did you buy a titanium?
I got my glass tip still.
Yeah, mine came with a glass tip, but I went with the titanium.
Well, if I could find me a titanium tip, I'm going to end up getting me one.
My
But I
own,
got
Where's that?
Gonna have to
guy
add
from?
that to your gift basket that I'm sending you from Johnny. It's the same size, right? It's like what, 14, 16 millimeter?
it's. I'll send you a picture of mine. It's exactly the same.
Okay, yeah, I'll get you one.
It's exact same. I'll send you a picture so you can see what I'm talking about. But for some reason, that titanium, like you said, seems a lot easier because glass. I'm sitting there judging, and there's times where I think it'll be hot enough, and fuck, I don't get nothing. And other times it's too hot, and then I got to take it all apart because I got so much shit up in there, and I got to try to put
Yeah.
the silicone in the freezer to fucking let it harden up and crumble back down. And yeah, I'm slow, boss.
I mean, I let it heat up. It's got a little bit of a glow. I give it like a 5-second count, and then I kind of go in there like nice and slow, making my way up along the edges, and yeah, way easier than like breaking a chunk, dropping it into the bucket, covering it. I don't know. It's just me.
Now, does the heat being so close to the rest of your concentrate steal any of the terps off of it for your next
No,
hit?
it never gets close enough. That'd be like if I took it and I smashed it right in the middle of the pile. Maybe what's around it, possibly, if it was that hot. But it's more of an edging situation where like you'll have a glob and you just kind of edge your way to the glob. You know what I'm saying? You're not vaporizing anything else, just what you're working on. And when it gets too cool, it stops. Like you're not taking in anything else.
Okay.
And as long as you're not like, I don't know how hot silicone can withstand, but I mean, as long as you let it cool off a little bit and then go into your silicone dabbers, you know, you're pretty good. That's a convenience I like, is the fact that I could dab out of a silicone round dabber now, as opposed to fucking having to deal with a bong and everything else, you know. It's just a pain in my ass. I don't mind hitting a bong with flour.
it's one less step in the process, right? It's, dabbing can be a pretty gooey mess. Let's face it. If it's pretty contained, if you stick to this style of dabbing. My one gripe about the actual straw style of dabbers is that it's literally a straw for that resin to come up and smack you right in the teeth and lips or whatever. So I prefer the kind where it'll have like a bulb in the middle of it, so that the resin will have to fall into that, so it can't come up and hit you straight in the mouth. But other than that, these things are freaking awesome. I love them. It's well worth it. And you can find them on Wish for dirt freaking cheap. So it's
definitely convenient. I was this close to getting the one that what is it? Fluffy's got it. He could fucking set the tent with no fucking butane or nothing. It's got 3 levels, and all you gotta do is touch the fucking wax with it. It's like a electronic one. It was either Fluffy or Squishy. One of them had it. I want to say Fluffy. If it ain't Dritz, if he ain't over here showing it off. But it was made of plastic, and it had a plastic tip, and it had a coil set up. So you heat up the coil, and then all you do is dab. You know what I'm saying? But the thing that kind of got me away from it was the chick said you get 10 nice dabs out of it, and then you have the problem with having to eventually replace the coil because it's going to build up with shit and burn out or whatever. So I was like, you know what? I don't even want to deal with having to replace the coil, but the convenience of no blowtorch, or automatically 3 settings, medium, low, and high, will determine how you get it. You know what I'm saying? Almost had me sold on it, believe me, especially because, she was very convincing.
a lot of the time those coils can be cleaned out too to extend life and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like isopropyl or whatever kicking around. Is actually I just had a thought. So Rick and I, we were talking about that purple power a couple shows ago. And I was wondering, is that stuff any good for cleaning out like vape coils or stuff like that, or is it just strictly good for glass? Like it's new to me. Does anyone have
when I first heard of that stuff, I think it's old. It was mainly for glass, like concentrates were the big thing. Don't quote me on this, but it reminds like this purple liquid that was used specifically to clean bongs. Not like concentrates or anything like that, but the way they wanted you to do it was kind of like put your piece in boiling water for a little bit, dump it out, put the purple shit in there with salt so it had a granulation to it, shake it around, drain it out. If you like try to collect that shit again, if need be, pour it back, boil it, pour it back in there, do it a couple of processes. I've never used a bong cleaning solution, but I did see that type of solution used once on a friend's bong. Clean the shit out of his bowl. I'm sorry, his bowl. Clean the shit out of his fucking bowl. I'll tell you what. But how much of that stuff do you got to use to fill some of these bongs that some of these people are showing off?
So it's basically described as a sorry, Caribou. I'm just going to say it's basically described as a degreaser used in the automotive industry for degreasing, and we used to use it for exterior cleaning, walls, awnings, cement surfaces.
What about Dawn dish soap? That's a degreaser.
Oh yeah, well this is a lot more concentrated than that.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, and the thing that I do myself is I just reuse it. I'll fill my bong all the way to the top, and then I'll shake it back. I'll leave it sit there. I'll shake it back and forth, and then I'll just take the remnants and put it back in the in my bottle. So I just keep reusing it, and then I use it when I'm clipping. I use it to wipe my hands and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, like a gallon of it. It's like I bet you I didn't even pay $30, but it worked fantastic.
See, that's cheaper than the alternatives around here because I had to go buy a gallon of isopropyl so I could clean up hanger bowls and stuff like that, and it's good to have for other purposes around here too. But because the only place I can find isopropyl is at the feed store around here. They don't sell 99% at any of the other stores because people make drugs with it and shit. And it's $40 for the gallon of that, and that's 30 or less. So if I'm looking, that would be the other thing is I'd use isopropyl for cleaning bongs, but I hear that shit's actually bad for bongs. It'll like pit them out or whatever and wear out the glass is my understanding. Stuff like purple power won't. So that would be, if it's 30 or bucks less, that's savings. But it's also the other funny thing is because like Rick, you were telling me you got that at Tasco if I remember correctly, and I bought that little like half-liter bottle from the head shop because I needed something to clean my little dab rig out, and it was freaking $15 for this bottle. So you're telling me another $15 or less, and I can get like, about 8 of these? Like, yeah, that's so it just goes to show again that as soon as something is marketed for cannabis, the price just gets jacked up to extortionate prices. It's ridiculous. So once again, you've heard me say this a million times, don't be afraid to think outside the box when it comes to growing, especially if you're like an organic grower and don't mind putting in a little elbow grease. You make things a lot easier for yourself.
I agree that organic is the way to go, but it's just the initial expense of changing over and getting all the different stuff you got to get. If it wasn't for that, I'd already have done it. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and I don't have a lot of access. It's not like I have a grocery store down the road like Lonnie does. I'd have to drive all the way 4 or 5 miles.
I can't do organics. Every time I talk to the girls about it, all they hear are bugs, worms, and other shit in the house, and it's not fucking happening any way, shape, or form.
Go organics.
I'm outnumbered. They're like severely outnumbered. So you got, my mother-in-law, wife, girlfriend, teenage daughter. My dad's half a bitch, if you ask me. So there's 4.5 versus me. Yeah, I'm out bitched. You know what I'm saying?
You can't forget Roxy too.
Yeah, but she's a mama's girl, so
Well, in that case,
I lost that battle, guys.
Go hydro, because hydro, you're going to get a better yield than I think you will out of just soil.
I do all right out of soil. And the last time I did hydro, I had a bad experience, and then they got to sit here and be like, oh, you're gonna flood the fucking basement again, because if I go hydro, I'm hooking up my 55-gallon fucking reservoir and my 12 bucket brain system. I'm not going some bullshit 3-plant situation. Like, I'm going balls to the wall. I got it in my closet. So if I go hydro, yeah, I could make a serious fucking mess if something went wrong. It's just easier for me to contain my problems. I guess that's really what I'm trying to say, is if anything goes wrong with my plant, it does not oh shit, a water line went, now my fucking basement's flooded. Oh shit, this went, now this is fucked. It's my problem, my plants, that's it. I have a straight power line from the power box to my fucking 4 plugs that run one that goes to my light and to everything in my room. It's only a couple of things. That's it. It's keep it simple, stupid. That's it. That's all I try to do.
Second that, man. I remember I was dabbling in hydroponics for a little bit, just doing some bucket DWC systems, and the root pouring was so much fun.
It was
right around this time we got our medical grow licenses, the wife and I, right? And so then we go from just having about a dozen plants in various styles, kind of in a 2-light area. All of a sudden it's okay, we can grow a lot more plants, and so we blow it up, and we're trying to do some ebb and flow systems on those 4x8 flood tables. And we had this 185-gallon water tank that we got, because basically we took down someone else's grow to inherit all this equipment and the RO system and all this shit. And between trying to fill the freaking water tank with RO water and the freaking the reservoir for the nutrients under the tables and stuff like that, within the first month of veg and everything else, I bet you we probably flooded that basement half a dozen times at least. And I'm not talking a little bit, I remember the very first time my parents are over, and it's all very cool, right? Because you got all these, we planted shit ton of seeds, because all my crosses that I had before, it was you're going to have males and females, so we're going to have to weed the males out. So there's a couple hundred freaking seedlings popping up and doing their thing. Anyways, my mom wakes up at about 4, 5 in the morning, I want to say. I'm upstairs having coffee already. And she's saying, now all I hear is, Brad, there's the water on the floor down here. You're like, huh? Because the RO system, what I didn't know is those things are so slow at filtering. It's it takes forever. And I just left it going overnight and forgot to check it. But when it was probably filled the tank at about 9 o'clock at night and kept going for about another 8 hours or so, that still translates to a shit ton of freaking water on the ground. There was only 2 rooms in the entire house that had carpet in them, and one of them was in this bedroom that we decided, okay, or a spare bedroom, we're going to convert this into a grow room for a crop, right? No, there's no more carpet in that room. Had to keep it simple. And I'm done rambling for a bit. Somebody save me, please.
Okay, here we go. So
Y'all make
speaking
me
of rambling, I feel a Uncle Rick Ramble coming on, so I hope you'll all bear with me.
Yes.
Welcome to everybody in chat. Fluffy's in there. DP was in for a while, and anyway, so before we went live, excuse me, we were talking about all those nuisance phone calls that you get, and I'm sure we've all got a story, but I got a pretty good one. So one day I'm working at my computer, and up comes a warning message on my computer. Hey, you've been, I don't know, hacked or whatever. Call this number, and we'll save you. So I didn't know what to do. I couldn't unfreeze my computer, so I called the number, and they said, "Oh yeah, well we can make this all good for you. Just throw some money at us and give us your credit card." And I said, "Okay." So I was panicking. And so anyway, I gave him my credit card, and he came back and said, "This credit card isn't working. It's not working." And I said, "Well, that's strange, but okay, well, here's another credit card." So I gave him that one, and okay, we're good to go. So I'm sitting there, and he, from his end, goes into my computer, and he's working away, trying to make my computer better. I get a phone call, and it was my first credit card company. And they said, "Yeah, somebody tried to use your credit card, and it's a scam. So, we blocked them from using your credit card." I said, "Oh, really? Well, guess what? They're on my I gave them another number, and they're on my computer right now." And now I'm sweating. I'm really, really. What do I do? What do I do? And she said, "Well, you turn the computer off." So I went with my mouse to go to turn my, because he's working away, opening this window, closing that one. So I went with my mouse to go to turn the computer off. And then he grabbed the icon and took it back and went back to work. And we're going back and forth like this. And finally, I'm like, I don't know what to do at this point. And I got this poor girl from the first credit card company on the phone, and I said, "They won't let me turn my computer on. What do I do? What do I do?" And she says, "Pull the plug." So I said, "Okay." So I pulled the plug, and that's that's just about the end of the story. Other than then the guy phoned me back and said, "Hey, what happened to your computer?" So that's the end of my story, my ramble.
That was some shit, Rick. I'll tell you what, if you ever got a call from, I don't know how it is in Canada, but the United States, from the government, you really want to fuck with them. Tell them that you want to talk to their manager because they interrupted you while masturbating, and you want to put a complaint in, and you want to see somebody hang up real quick. It's boom, instantaneous, dude. They don't want to talk to you anymore.
We need to start like a profits tips for life portion of this show, where every episode we just give you 5 minutes where you can just preach about life. And this is how we're going to get you through this, guys, because you come up with brilliant shit all the time.
Thanks, man. I'll try. I try to write them down, but I'm lazy. Thank God we're recording this so I can go back,
Well, yeah, it's out there for posterity now. This is great shit. Keep it coming.
When in doubt, tell them you're in the middle of trying to get something out of your ass, and you'll get back to them, but you're going to put them on speaker, and feel free to continue talking to me while I proceed to pull this out of my rectum. And then make funny noises and little, noises and shit, run with it. Enjoy. Health. Soup your hand up and just keep squeezing your hand, that sounds pretty good. So, there's so much. It gives me something to do. I told you, the government stuck me in the house and decided to have people call me when stimulus checks come around and shit, because that's when they call, and all of a sudden everybody needs your information, ironically. I haven't existed for fucking 25 years, and now you want to know who the fuck I am? Yeah, okay. So, fuck it. You get paid by the hour, right? Okay, I'm gonna keep you on the phone for a little while. You gotta earn your pay. That's just how I see it. That, and I'm bored. I'm gonna entertain it. Entertain myself. I've been binge watch everything. So until they create a new TV series that I can watch, I'm gonna fuck with people that call me.
Y'all ever get the Jehovah's Witnesses going door knocking door to door down there?
Dude, oh my God, I have, and because I'm a theologian, I started making them question their faith, so they kept trying to bring the higher up over until finally it got to the priest, or I'm sorry, they call them pastors. Well, everybody's a brother and a sister, okay? So I guess you can consider him the head brother. And when he got to me and I started laying into a few situations, you know, I don't want to ramble too much. I don't want to offend anybody's thing, but I mean, when you go after somebody like me that has almost a photogenic, like photographic memory, especially when it comes to Bible verses and everything else, that you don't want to do that. And you hit them like they're like, oh, Jehovah, and I'm like, the J wasn't created until like the 14th century, right? And they're like, well, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah. So what did Jehovah can't be his name? Here's another thing. Neither could Jesus. Jesus can't be his name. And like they get people get mad at me, and I'll be like, dude, like that. I'm sorry. Like I don't want to run into a tangent about religion. That's not what this is about. You know what I'm saying? Because I could seriously bring a lot of people to a conclusion that they may not be happy about, or they may be happy about, and I've gotten mixed thoughts on both, and I could back everything I say up, every single bit of it. I wouldn't say it if I couldn't. That's a bold ass statement.
See,
And that goes with every religion. That goes to every religion. I could guarantee you all are worshiping the same fucking God, because I follow the way they like to be worshipped. Okay, there's always a freaking sacrifice. All right, blood has to be involved. Okay, so that hits me to one thing, and we'll just go from there. Okay, every time blood is involved, you're dealing with the same guy. I don't give a fuck if it's a lamb, a child, the interpretation. Okay, like it's the same fucking thing. But I'm gonna get some Jesus guys coming in and being me, and like
not on my mothership though, Prophet.
What?
It ain't like that on my mothership. Ask Sam.
What do you mean her ship?
Our whole conversation the other day.
We have a lot of them, dude.
With the telephone poles, my mothership, the aliens.
Oh, the mothership. Okay.
The mothership.
I was honestly talking about your mom and her ship. And I was like, I don't remember talking about your mom having a ship, dude. Yes, your mother's ship, yes. But yeah, let's move on to something else. Something a lot lighter.
Hype's
I hear air's pretty light.
Hype's kind of looking like he wants to get into some conspiracy talk or something.
Yeah, he does.
Ready to go look. So
I think Hype. I mean, if you got anything you want to add against me, towards me, whatever, feel free, hop in, man. Like I love to debate. I will not get butthurt about anything. I like to learn. I like other people's
that
opinion.
Wouldn't be debating.
Let's do that.
No, I actually 100% agree with you. But I'm also not trying to piss off the audience with furthering the same.
Yeah, okay, we're on the same
agreement.
Okay, we're on the same idea as far as we should probably start moving off into something else. Okay, we touched on it. Let's go somewhere else.
What's everybody smoking on tonight?
I
got an array of shit. That's a jar.
Sea-Womp Berry D.
Sea-Womp Berry D.
Bigger one.
Dude, say that again. I love your accent.
That Sea-Womp Berry D.
Yes.
I decided I would kind of steal from a dude from DGC because I noticed that I was getting a lot high on the shows and not being able to speak at all hardly after the first like 10 minutes. So I went ahead and I been smoking on a 1-to-1 tonight. So yes, I am high. I'm good and go, but I'm not so stoned that I need to sit and not speak.
Well, I am right in the middle of fixing a bowl of GMO cookies, 33.32%, 4.99 terps.
Wow. Have you had that before?
Yeah, I've been having it now for the last couple weeks. It's pretty good. It's really tasty, gets you really stoned. Of course, I always put on some topping on it. Today, I'm going to put on some mimosa diamonds.
Wow, that's a high THC. 33, you said?
Yeah, 33.32.
Wow.
But you know, I mean, that's great. But I've had weed that had really high THC, and it didn't seem like it gets you all that high, you know. And I've had stuff that was like 25 and it had a bunch of terps in it. Man, it got me stoned off my ass. So I don't always go by the, you know, what the THC is. I also just go by how it works. I try it. If I like it, it's good. If I don't buy it no more.
So,
But now,
yeah.
The nose.
I'm pretty much having stuff done, so I pretty much won't be buying weed. I'll be smoking the stuff that I've been growing. So,
Right on. That's the best stuff. So,
yeah.
Caribou, I just finished rolling up the last little bit of Charlotte's Web that I got from you.
Okay.
And about halfway through a joint here, and man, it kicks ass. I mean, it makes me so high. Like you're sure it was Charlotte's Web that you gave me? Because I don't know what the percentage THC is, or maybe I just have a low tolerance. I don't know, but it makes me very high.
Okay, well, I have a theory, and feel free to completely tell me to blow this out my ass, but I feel as though I personally, at least, I don't get high from it. I get extremely I can't even talk right now. Extremely relaxed from it. And so what I wonder if it is maybe like it's the absence of stress in the body that makes you feel as though maybe you're high. Could I maybe have a little bit of truth to what I'm saying?
What is that, Jenkum?
CBD that he
Oh,
smokes,
okay.
Charlotte's Web.
I
Because
haven't tried it.
I've heard from a few people that have smoked the Charlotte's Web now, specifically the stuff we're growing, and they say that they do seem to get high from it. And so I'll sit there and I'll smoke this stuff and I'll be considering it. And when I think back to the very first time I tried it in the Airizer, which I've mentioned this time a few times, where it just was all of a sudden just like I was super stressed and like shaking for like a day plus, and then all of a sudden it's gone. I wasn't high. I was just completely calm, chilled out, and rational.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. That makes a ton of sense. And that could definitely be the situation with me. Because it relaxes me, and for the pain, it's absolutely incredible. I suffer from arthritis, and it's absolutely amazing. And so maybe because that stress is taken away from me, I'm more relaxed and therefore feel like maybe I'm high. Well, but I'm enjoying wonderful company. I mean, that's what makes me high is you guys and all the folks in chat. That's what makes me high. But I'll give Charlotte's Web some of the credit, okay?
See, that's because we all smoke so much freaking dope that you're getting a contact high, even from all the way from like Michigan and Illinois and stuff like that, man. We smoke some serious weed around here. Y'all in chat too. You all puff real hard. We know that. You can keep up.
Sometimes I feel like I'm trapped in a box when I'm in this thing. I'm like, God, I'm like, there's only so much room here, man. I'm in a cube.
I'll never.
Well,
quit.
I just smoked the last of my lemon Jeffrey. It made it through, and then I just ate the last of my brownies. I had a bunch of crumbs in there, so I poured some milk in there and made a little slushy out of it, and I like it. I'm feeling good. Not as good as Uncle Rick usually, but I'm feeling pretty good.
So what are you out until you harvest, Johnny? No more, you can't make shit?
I'm out. No. I'm on vacation.
Okay.
I'm
I was
out of
about to say,
everything till I go home, which we're going home tomorrow. So
all right,
I'm
I was about to
good.
I was gonna put a big call out and be like, all right, we gotta send some shit to Johnny because I mean this dude can't not be on something.
I was gonna say, you got a 9-hour ride home with nothing, dude. You're gonna hate life.
No vape pen, no nothing.
14 hours.
14. Oh god, you're gonna hate life, dude. You're gonna have to stop and get a vape pen somewhere along the way.
Quick,
Oh,
is there anybody in the direction of you heading home on
Hype.
the panel in the chat that could meet up with you?
I might give a shout out to Hype if he ain't working tomorrow.
Yeah,
Stop by.
Johnny needs travel hoots, folks. Let's get him hooked up. We can't have that.
I can help people on the East Coast, but I mean you guys keep like upper East Coast. I can't do shit for you people down at the bottom or way over there if you're gonna go visit the middle of nowhere. Come to the beach, man.
Come on now, one of my wife's favorite shows is Heartland. That's up in Canada. About a ranch up in Canada with lots of horses and stuff. It's a TV show. She loves that thing, man. She watches it all the time.
I like Oak Island. I mean, I've known about Oak Island since I was like 13, man. Like, I've a lot of about Oak Island. Even before the show started. When they started doing the show, I was like, are they talking about Oak Island, like the money pit? And then, yeah, sure enough, they were.
Yeah, I'm with
Yeah,
you.
I love that show.
It was I remember my grade 3 teacher, we did our like a big section on pirates and shit like that, and he went on talking about that, and it was like ever since then I was hooked on that. Kind of with your Prophet. As soon as they started that show up, I was just completely hooked after that. So but I haven't seen it in a couple seasons. So I'm guessing it's still going, so they haven't found it yet though. So but
They started back up after COVID. It shut down for a little while. Then they had the like only the Laguniuses and what a few of the others were allowed over, but they had to quarantine for 2 weeks, and then they could kind of like go out and do some stuff, but they couldn't have any major companies like they had come in like excavation yet because of the lockdown and it being an island. They're only letting so many people on, so they did a lot of like ground penetrating radar and stuff. But like I said, I think we've had this discussion like one of probably 10 episodes ago, but
actually this does sound familiar.
yeah, as soon as they got to once they got past pirate treasure time and they're starting to get into Templar time and older, I think they need to back the fuck up because somebody more intelligent than even like the Freemasons created that thing, and they didn't want it messed with. It's to the point where we can't today, and we're draining fucking swamps and holding back the sea to be able to dig in these places to even touch it or even get close to it, and we still haven't gotten to it. So whatever it is, I think it should be left the fuck alone now. I was curious before. Now I think they should leave it the fuck alone because it doesn't sound like it's something that anybody a pirate wouldn't bury his treasure like that. It wouldn't be as deep like that. It wouldn't have been put to that test because like that type of booby trapping, you know what I'm saying? Like, no. Sorry, no. That shit's been there a while. Long while.
You know, the pyramids fascinate me, and there's a shitload of that stuff going on in those pyramids in Egypt, and we're down in South America. They fascinate me.
Well, do you know that the Egyptian culture actually is dated older in the Grand Canyon? And over in Egypt, they actually carried over because shit started off over here. There's a global flood. I don't care if you want to go biblical, if you want to go historical. All over the world it's claimed there's a global flood. Shit changed. We ended up on the other side, or the majority ended up on the other side, and now you have the story of Babylon and society and all that shit being created and whatnot, right? The thing is that over in Egypt, they actually have depictions of a cactus that is only grown in Arizona. It's like that fucking one that looks like a guy. It's got fucking the arms that come off of it and shit. And it's a deity or a god to them. But none of they don't grow. Cactuses don't grow, or those cactuses don't grow in Egypt. And another thing is that take the Mississippi fucking what is it, mosquito virus, which is known as the West Nile virus, and that you don't catch that in the Nile. You only catch it on the Mississippi. I think that was the original Nile being talked about in the Old Testament. And the major rivers that came off, you had the major one would be like the Chicago, not Chicago, the fucking Colorado, and then there was another one. But we renamed it the Euphrates and shit when we, after the flood, and we started back over there. It reminded us of that, just like we take the names Rehoboth, which is one of the oldest names besides Babylon. It was a city outside of Babylon, and we have a Rehoboth, Massachusetts over here. All right, these names just keep getting fucking bounced around, you know. But shit, did I just go on a tangent? I'm sorry.
Busted.
Dude, keep going. That was great shit. I was just saying on YouTube that this shit's getting deep. So dab time, Prophet. Keep it rolling. I don't think this is kind of material that's gonna F anybody's head up, right? It's I get it.
I mean, everything can be checked. I'm not rambling off bullshit, you know.
I find it informational and educational. So keep going.
I like this kind of shit.
Don't we want to wait for this shit with Red? We need Red, me hypothetical, and Red on a panel.
This is your pre-green, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, tell us more about the Egyptian pyramids, the geometry of them, and how they line up with stars and moons and all kinds of shit, and that's just fascinating. And they had those to protect the King Tut or whoever it was. They had really elaborate rocks that would, if you tripped it, it would slam shut and to protect them.
Are you talking about the mummies that were found in the King's Valley, or are you talking about the pyramids? Because there were no mummies found in any of the pyramids, especially the Great Pyramid. There was no mummy found in that. There's no proof to state that there was even a mummy placed in there other than a broken sarcophagus that was there. But there are no depictions whatsoever of any pharaoh being put there. They claim that Khufu built it, but I got mixed feelings about that. I think that thing's been there way longer than that. There's proof of water erosions from mass floods, global flood, I'm sorry, and whatnot, especially on the Sphinx itself. The Sphinx itself shows that, but they say that there was more water, global ice caps, blah, 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 blah. The ice caps have been melting ever since day one that I can remember, since I was in fucking middle school. They were saying, like, in the 80s, they told us in the 90s, you know, me being the ocean state, we'd be underwater. In the 90s, they told 2000 we'd be under the water. I've looked at the Australian fucking water levels on the oceanic water levels, dude, from the Australian Navy, okay? And they keep records since 1904, and the ocean level is actually like 2 meters lower than it was when they originally started testing. So global flooding doesn't really concept with me. And then the baffling thing of fresh water doesn't mix with salt water, that's rather intriguing in itself, because all the ice caps are fucking fresh water. So it's like, where's it going if they're melting? You know, like, they're just things I ponder about. Like I said, I don't. I have a lot of strange thoughts that run through my head that make me go, Go ahead, hype. You got it. Come on, you got something going on in there. I can see it. Bring it on. Help me out.
All right, so he was mentioning the pyramids and how they line up with certain things, and it reminded me of the 3 pyramids on Mars that are really, really conveniently placed in the same 3 pyramids as ours. And I grew up, surprised, I grew up in the South, so I grew up Christian, non-denominational, closest related to Southern Baptist for ideology purposes. Give you the idea of the perspective I was coming from when I came up with this theory. But at the end of Revelation, it says that there will be a new heaven and a new earth. So basically, after the earth is destroyed through Revelation, or a third of it, it says all the end of Revelation fun stuff happens, but there will be a new heaven and a new earth. And it just got me thinking that what if it were all true? And this is just the second iteration of Mars. That was the first one. And this is the new heaven and new earth. It's just going through the same cycle.
That's an interesting concept, seeing how we have a bad habit of just repeating ourselves over and over and over. So, I mean, I could see that happening. I got mixed feelings about space. That's just my personal opinion. They've lied to us about entirely too much shit. And the fact that we haven't been back to the moon. And then if you actually look up the Orion mission, okay, this is a mission that was taking place in 2010 or 12, all right? You can look this up. They were still trying to determine how the fuck to get through the Van Allen radiation belt without destroying their instruments and killing a human being in that day and time. Now, here's the funny part. They had to travel through the Van Allen radiation belt to get to the moon and back. When asked, they asked Neil Armstrong and Buzz, they said they didn't notice any difference. But now it's a fucking issue to get up there. We haven't been back there. You know, they say we've been there, but the way we saw it televised was through like the shittiest grain possibility that they could give us. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we did go. And the thing about Mars, right, is that the photos you come across that are documented as Sol, which come from the direct rover itself, which, mind you, has lived like 10 or 15 years past its battery expiration date could ever possibly have conceived, okay? It takes pictures every day, and there was these couple of pictures I had, and I wish I caught them in my old phone. I can get the photos down, but they showed the fucking rover, and it was covered because they supposedly get sandstorms, and it covers the solar panels. Science excuse is that it comes up with electromagnetic storms that then pick the particles of sand up, and it makes it look like they've been like fucking Windex, right? But because they have that fucking satellite going over, coming down on it, checking the ground, there was close-ups of this fucking the rover, and you can legitimately see fucking footprints walking around the rover, right? So like, okay, you want to believe in space, believe in space. You don't want to believe in space, don't believe in space. But I'm going to state the fact that that picture alone tells you that they are lying to us. They're either lying that they're already on fucking Mars, or they're lying that they even went to fucking Mars and they're showing us pictures of Earth. But these were pictures pulled from the Curiosity. That and, the infamous selfie with no shadow of a hand stick or anything like that. The Curiosity rover taking a selfie of itself. That right there, that's a little curious. Now they decided to add a drone, so that'll stop us wackadoos from thinking that way. Go ahead, Rick. What's up? Oh, gotcha.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, buddy. Johnny's battery's going and he's leaving us. Say goodbye, Johnny.
I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Thank you. Phone's about to die. I'm going to curl up and try to get some sleep. I want to get home. I miss my plants, my cat.
See you later, Johnny.
I'm going to have a safe trip, buddy.
Thanks. Have a good one. Hey, I'll get a hold. I'll message or I'll text you tomorrow, hype. and see how close you are to me.
Yep. I'm right off the main highway.
Are you? North or south of Nashville?
We'll talk tomorrow.
Oh, all right. All right. Bye.
Good night, Johnny. Drive safe, man.
Have a great night, Johnny.
Thanks, guys.
Later, Johnny.
Keep her between the ditches, brother.
Oh my God, bro.
How do I get out of here? I can't even figure out how to get off. Later, guys.
Later.
Good night.
Hey, brother.
Now that guy's gone.
Fuck, I thought he'd never leave. Jeez.
Right. All right, somebody fire off. Come on. I've been rambling.
Okay,
That'll
Hype,
give me.
your turn.
That'll stop me again. Open the choke and pull the cord, but I need something new to run with.
Yeah, get him going, Hype.
Oh, what?
How about Hype gets himself going, and then I'll join in. You know, like let's Hype go.
Better.
I don't know. The
Okay.
Bible stories were pretty cool, Prophet. Go ahead and do us some more Bible stories, man. Thump it out,
There you
brother.
go.
Why don't we save that for the Sunday toke? That seems more appropriate.
Oh,
There you
man. You just ruined my
I can
night.
tell you about the time I was touched.
I mean, what do you want to know about Dritz? What do you want to know?
Oh, I don't want to know anything in particular. You seem to have all the knowledge in the world about it, so I'm kind of just listening on and going, sweet.
I'd have to
Because
start
God
from the
matches
I'd have
up
to
with
start
that
from the
little bit I
beginning.
do
That's the
know.
scary part, man, because there's so much to the beginning that you have no comprehension, like
Well, we're
that's
only like an
going
hour
on,
into the show. We're
huh?
like an hour into the show. We got all night.
Dude, it couldn't do it. Like, all right, you know why people have to go to church every Sunday just to learn about to read one book or be read one book because of how much time it takes? That's basically the situation. I'm not just going to try to explain to you one book. I'm going to explain to you 20 books before the New Testament was even created. And I'm not even talking about the canonical books. I'm talking about the apocrypha books. I'm talking about the books that aren't considered canon as far as they're fucking concerned. I would probably nail you with the Enoch one because that right there is one of the best fucking books out there as far as like knowing how all this started and the shit that this was written 2,000 years before, you know, the Old Testament was even written, because this is like OG text, because Enoch was the seventh of Adam, you know what I'm saying, generation wise. So that's how close to like the genealogy history this story starts off, and explains how the Watchers, which were the angels who were supposed to guide men, found the women beautiful, came down, mated with them, created these monstrous offspring, fucked the genetics up. That's why God flooded us out, left Noah and his family, who, mind you, they were still in the Hebrew. It's called Tamim, which means pure. They didn't defile themselves with the sons of Cain. Okay, fucking, they didn't mix with the Nephilim. But I mean, Nephilim has two people bicker about the Nephilim word. Nephilim means to nefal, means to fall. Okay, so the fallen angels that cast aside their wings and became human and considered themselves gods and taught mankind all types of fucked up shit, like war, how to build weapons, abortions. All this stuff was written in this book, like to such detail that it would blow your fucking mind. It's almost like the Bhagavad Gita of fucking like Hindu or Indian, one of them. Like the stuff they were talking about, nuclear weapons and the flying craft and the shit like that they described seeing, you know, like people say, you know, dinosaurs and humans didn't exist or whatever, but I'm like, go to Cambodia and take a look at fucking what is the Angkor Wat, and it's the, you know, there's carvings of fucking triceratops in there. Go to the Mayan or even the Aztecs fucking temples, and there's little carvings of them capturing Tyrannosauruses and fucking riding triceratops. Like, these things existed while mankind did. I don't think time is as old as billions of years. I think they're way off on that. That's just, the timelines don't add up. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, for me to ramble off, like to listen to me explain my opinion of what I've interpreted from the Bible isn't technically fair. I can give you the leads, but you should read it yourself. That's why priests have people convinced what they say is the word of God, because they'll take this one chapter and they decide that they're going to devote, some type of meaning and their interpretation to it, and then they'll jump 5 books ahead and do another chapter. And I'm like, start from fucking Genesis 1 and read the goddamn book. Read the book. Start it from, let people get their own interpretations. Give them the ability that there's more out there that coincides with what we believe than just this. Because believe it or not, there is a lot to what you all believe, even though you have different religions. They all link up.
To that, I have had spiritual, I don't know how else to put it. The first time I felt it, again, I grew up Christian, so of course I'm going to be exposed to it first there.
I grew up Catholic, dude.
Consider it, yeah. So I would consider it like, now I see it more of like kind of like touching the interconnectedness of everything, but like feeling it in mass. But the first time I felt it, I had a few people, I guess you could call them close to a Pentecostal, but not. They were themselves non-denominational. They read the Bible themselves and came up with their own interpretation of it, but had the verses to back it up. And one of their things was working miracles, and that people could, because outright it said in the Bible they could. And he sent his disciples out to work miracles in his name. And I had a group, probably like 12 deep, 8 deep, somewhere in there. It's been a while. But none of them touched me. Most of them were either holding hands or hands on like each other's shoulders. And one of them had his hand outstretched toward me, but a solid like 2 feet between us. I had my eyes open. I didn't believe shit. And I felt the wave hit me, like a wave of just oof, from this group while they were praying. And the way that they described it was they aren't speaking in tongues in the way that people like the Pentecostal was portrayed and all that crap. They said that basically they believed that God understood what they wanted to say, and it allowed them to just speak with such a passion to that point where you can't form words, but you want to keep speaking, and you get that passionate. And it allowed them to just, he knows what I'm trying to say, and just go and just make whatever came out. And there's a few of them doing that.
When the Holy Spirit enters your body, and they call it like holy speech or angelic speech or something like that.
Well, they didn't believe there was anything like that, though. They thought they were just so passionate they couldn't form words, but that God could read what they wanted. He understood the intention behind it.
Oh.
Which is why language doesn't matter, is because it's what's on your heart and what your intention is in your prayer. That's why you can pray to the same God in Spanish, Greek, and English, and he understands.
I've had mixed feelings about that, because names are so important that people don't realize that. Because if that was the case, then if you didn't know God's name was Satan and you were praying to Satan as a Christian, would it be going to God because your intentions were to go to God? Names are very important. Yahweh, fucking Baal, Moloch, all these gods of old that really fall into the line of possibly being the God of the Old Testament. Like I said, I'm not a follower of him. I just think the Old Testament is more factual than a lot of history books I've read. Thing is that just like in history that we're looking at, there's a giant bait and switch going on, okay? Where good is conceived bad, bad is conceived good. I think this is going on in history so many times. that the original name of God is either A, not permitted to us, or B, it's been forgotten about because it probably carries a lot of power. Because the first bitch to ever say it was Lilith, and she pronounced it, and he wasn't pretty happy about it. If you remember the story of Lilith, okay, she had to birth demons every night, so he was pretty upset that she used his name. So the name may have been possibly hidden, but it's in Israelite, from what I can tell, all right, ancient Israelite, it's known as Haya, okay, meaning I am that I am. That is the name of the creator, all right, through the Israelites. Now, as we go through genealogy and theology, you're going to learn that the Israelites were actually of the black race and the darker races. White race is Canaanites, okay? Sorry, not to offend anybody. I'm just going by the book, all right? So, the with that in mind, the God that's being worshipped has always baffled me as to exactly whose God is the God of the Old Testament. And he even, okay, so we take the Old Testament, it's known as the Torah, right? The Torah even had as far as they were concerned, they were the chosen people. Everybody else was just to be used, okay, in atonement. But a lot of religions feel that way, okay? If you're not that religion, then you're outside, okay? You're not as important. But the thing is that the Israelites were oh shit, see, I'm so baked, I just got lost in my whole aspect.
Hey, I'm gonna pause you in your aspect then while you're baked, and my dog is going nuts, and I'm pretty sure that means that it's my time to get out of here. And my phone's about to die anyway. So I appreciate y'all having me. It's been good chatting with you, Prof.
Later, man.
Take care.
Always a privilege hanging out with you.
Keep going, keep schooling.
Yeah, you guys can't leave me running my mouth like that. Somebody needs to pop in and pull away, man. I need some help before I call the girls and tell them to shut up.
Okay, well,
Sorry,
Thank you, baby.
I don't know enough about religious topics to be able to.
So tell me to shut up and let's talk about something everybody knows
All right,
about.
well, let's pass it on. Next
All right.
subject. Let's get into something.
We could move on to growing, but actually it brings us right back to shit. I had it here, and then I got wrapped up in reading what's going on in the chat. These guys are having a great time in spite of us. I mean, they're totally ignoring. Every now and then they make a reference here, and I've lost it. But basically, it was Oki 402 Dank Annex. He said something to the effect that sub-irrigation was in the Bible in Genesis 2 something. 2:2, I think.
Sub-irrigation, I know that there's many passages in the Old Testament and in the New Testament of the Israelites using cannabis in ritual and as in itself. I even came across a passage in Luke, I believe, that God himself was contemplating something, and he decided that he was going to go back, sit in his spot, and smoke some herb and dwell on it. Like, it's literally written almost like that. So, I mean, cannabis's use has been used throughout the Bible for a long time. It's one of the few herbs that weren't chalked up, I believe, in like the whole so the word would be alchemist. Another word would be in the Greek pharmacopoeia, as pharmacy, but it all means sorcerer or poisoner. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's why, believe it or not, herbalists were attacked and killed because they were looked at as though they were sorcerers, So it's It's messed up when you think about it. The actual word for pharmacist means sorcerer or poisoner in actuality. But irrigation, I mean, they did plow, they did till. I mean, are we talking like they had hoses and everything else? That kind of irrigation?
I don't know. I got totally lost in their conversation, and it was really hard to keep up with this conversation. And of course, I lost the reference that he made to sub-irrigation, but they have gone on about all kinds of interesting things.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up once you get playing in the chat there. It's a lot of fun, I gotta admit. And then, like, I say it all the time that I end up paying attention to what's going on there, and then I'll miss huge portions of the show and what's actually going on. And yeah, well, like when I used to be rewatching them afterwards, there's lots of good stuff I'd pick up. Have I talked about that I'm making some full spectrum oil right now?
Full spectrum oil?
Yeah, well, same thing as Rick Simpson oil. I prefer to call it full spectrum because it is. I got some CBD stuff that I made with our Charlotte's Web trim that's dry or boiler, cooking off the alcohol in it right now to make some oil out of that so we can eat that. Maybe take a few aches and pains away. I'm really excited to see that because I've done the RSO or whatever with the THC stuff many times, and it always turns out really good and knock your friggin' ass in the dirt more often than not if you need a good night's sleep. And also today I got a big pickle jar that's just packed with weed. There's a mixture of like rolling tray scraps and other just good stuff, nugs that I didn't feel like smoking from the last trim, and this other good stuff. And I think I'm gonna get a shit ton out of there. I have a good feeling we're gonna keep that in the deep freeze for a couple days, shake the shit out of it whenever it occurs to me to do so, and see how that goes. And once we have the space in the tray to be able to boil off the or not boil it off, but slowly evaporate the alcohol off, we're gonna do that. See how that works. So that's what I've got going on for cannabis stuff at the moment. And yeah, hoping like hell to get a tent set up in the area here soonish so I could have at least a place I can go and check out every day or a couple days or whatever. That'd be nice. So it might be a while before I get to my other tent. Or I might just have to take a unexpected trip up there to go see, because I love my plants. And now that I got those cannons rocking on it, I really want to see how that's going because, well, LEDs for the first time.
Cannons.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got that 4x4 going with the 2 cannons in it. And then I've got another 4 cannons just sitting ready to rock. And then just because my old man's, my parents are awesome, I decided to buy a cannon that I shipped up to them because I guess they have a veg one that they're using. A different style of LED, like a longer, almost looks like one of those old fluorescent panels where you'd have like 2 or 3 fluorescents in it. That's about 3-4 feet long or whatever, but it's LEDs. So he's using that. So I want to give him a cannon to try beside that, just as thanks for putting up with my shit for all those years that I was an asshole. And I certainly helped contribute to the gray hairs on their heads. So,
so you think you'll be even with them now?
Say again?
You think you'll be even?
Oh shit, not by a long shot. This is like no, but I figure, hey,
brother, at least you're honest about it. At least you're honest about it.
Well, the way I look at it, man, I stole my old man weed so often. If I can get him a good producing strain and a nice fucking kick-ass grow light, he can at least grow some of that back to make it back for me. Because I don't think I could afford to pay that back. was, those teenagers went through a lot.
You're going to have to supply them with the seeds too, man. That's only fair.
Oh, and I did actually. So I started because I, as a lot of people know, I quit smoking weed for when I was about 21 for about 14 years. And then I started up just out of the blue one day, just thought it seemed like a good idea to give it a shot again. And so right away, it just seems to me that growing weed, if you have the space to do so, is a lot more economical than buying weed, especially if you smoke it on the level that I do. And so it's like, hey, let's start growing it. And right away, I fell in love. Kind of like Rick, you mentioned the story of how you got blindfolded and then you got taken in the room and they take it off and you just fucking your pants got tight instantly. Well, for me, it was just a slow process of having a couple seeds and watching that for the first time. That's how I fell in love with it and knew I was going to do that. And so knowing that Dad smokes pot, my mom didn't smoke pot, and she always used to whoop my ass for smoking weed in the house or coming home smelling like weed, And so, but I decided for Dad's birthday, I show up the day before his birthday or something like that with a clone tray with the humidity dome and all that, with some Sour Diesel, White Widow, and Purple Kush clones, because those were the very first 3 strains I was growing, and just wrapped it up like a present. And then here you go. I gave him a little Sunblaster T5 fluorescent light to give him a light source to at least get him slowly going. And from there on out, Mom and Dad have been growing. There's a few plants, here in Canada, you're allowed your 4 plants. So that's all they need. They, and Mom smokes weed now, which is what the fuck, because, and I still haven't witnessed it, but she was over at my place, a few months ago. I think it was actually before Christmas. And she was talking about how, she smokes pot every once in a while now. And I'm just like, wow, it's weird how things change. It's like the music that Dad used to tell me to turn the fuck down when I was cranking it in the basement. He now listens to a lot of that stuff. And Mom used to whoop my ass for smoking weed in the house, and now she smokes weed in the house. So gotta love your parents, man. I love my mom and dad. It's all good.
Well, my parents, I really doubt that they smoked, but they were old. They died over 10 years ago and they were in their 80s when they died. So, it was quite a while back. And I don't think either one of them smoked. My dad smoked cigarettes when he was in the Navy, and he was he quit as soon as he got out of the Navy,
Nope, I was raised in a fishbowl room. My mom didn't smoke, but my dad and all my uncles did. And we lived in ghetto apartments, so the room wasn't very big. And I distinctly remember my earliest memory looking at a 12-inch black and white TV, and I think it was Sesame Street. But yeah, there's 5 of my uncles and my dad inside of this closet-sized room or whatever, and I'm just sitting there getting hungrier and hungrier. I think I'm 5. No idea why. I'm real thirsty.
That's kind of funny. I knew from a real young age I was gonna end up smoking pot. I liked the smell of it, and that was all I really needed to know. I knew pot was supposed to be a bad thing, and sure, when I say young age, I'm saying probably 6 or 7 is when I first started saying I like the smell of that. Now, I'm not saying kids should be smoking weed. Do not fucking, I'm not going there. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying when I was young, I knew that I would one day. And sure enough, when I was 11 years old, it was a buddy's cousin come over and we were smoking roaches on the back step. And that's how it happened. And,
See, I didn't start until 15, but I always knew the smell. And when Dale was around and all that, they were trying to get kids to rat out their parents. Oh, do your parents do this? Do they roll their own cigarettes? Do they smoke in the room? Does it smell funny? Blah, blah. They were trying to nail the parents through the kids over here. But my family wasn't bad in my mind. And all they did was smoke pot. So in my mind, it wasn't bad, but I knew it couldn't be known. it was weird as a kid knowing that, you know. So like whenever I was asked that, it's like nope, nope, nope. But I've seen a lot of kids without even knowing it rat their parents out, and then have them having to go through court. This is like fuck 30 years ago. So I mean, this is like weed is real bad. You know what I'm saying? You got kids in your house and you're smoking weed with kids in your house. That's even worse, you know. But they were going through schools left and right trying to get kids to rat their parents out without the kids even knowing it. But I always knew in the back of my head that I could not let that out. It's kind of messed up. I was never threatened with it. It was just one of those unspoken things. I don't know. Maybe I always knew, you know, I was gonna. Maybe you're right. Maybe I always knew I was gonna be a pothead. I knew I was gonna have to keep it low key, so I might as well learn early. You know.
That's just fucking dirty and low too. Going through kids to try and like arrest parents for like breaking pot laws or something like that. That's kind of like if you're a dog catcher and you want to nail this dog, so you stand on the street with fucking offering a dog treats, trying to lure it off the property, kind of shit, right? That's just fuck off, dirty. I hate that kind of shit.
Dude, we've had like in the inner cities of the schools I've gone to, we've had like trading guns for toy guns type of fucking drives. You know what I'm saying? And like kids were taking their parents' guns, and I was in like middle school. You know, like, and trading them in for fucking Nerf guns, and then their parents would get charged with a fucking gun charge if it wasn't registered or anything like that. But they also got charged with the fact that thing wasn't like locked away or anything like that. It's fucked up. You know, it's a catch-22, I guess, basically, or not even that, because it's a fucked up system if you think about it. Like, children are weapons. I've said this for a long time. Actually, I said that after I broke up with my baby's mama. Children are weapons, and they truly are.
Guys, I gotta go. I gotta go to work tomorrow morning, so I'll talk to you all later.
Later, man.
All right, Driz. Love you, brother.
Glad you made it by, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't feeling well last weekend. So good to see him back.
Yeah. I thought you were totally setting it up for, yeah, good to see you, buddy. And then you're for your usual, Jesus, I can't stand that. It was, then you were actually nice with your follow through. I was like, what the fuck? Are you feeling okay, Rick? I think that's the question we should be asking right now.
Rick's too high. Caribou, check on him quick. Bring the defibrillator.
No fever.
Check his temperature.
I got a question for you guys and the panel. So you've all heard of Delta 8, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
What about Delta 10?
No.
I've learned of that today when I picked up my piece from the guy from the head shop. He said he's got like 5 headshots, but they picked up something like 30 pounds and they're giving away a gram of it for free to whoever comes in. But Delta 8 can be, you can pop for THC or whatever, like low amounts or something like that, because it's still stored in the fat cells, but Delta 10 is stored in the muscle cells, so it only stays in your body for like 3 days. It's brand new on the market. I mean, I don't know much about any of that, but he mentioned it to me, and I was like, you know what, let me mention it to the people out there and see what they think about it. But apparently Delta 10 is next on the line, at least on the East Coast. We'll see how long it takes for you guys to get there.
Yeah, this is news to me. Definitely interesting. I'd like to know more about it.
Yeah, I talked to the dude briefly. Like, it's a small place, and he had a line. It was a glass shop, and he's only allowed 2 people in there at a time. And I haven't been in a glass shop in 5 years. So when I walked in there, I instantly have the cytophobia. And I'm just like, wow, what do I even want? You know, like, I start looking around and shit. So I took a little bit of his time up and, you know, ended up getting what I got. But freaking, you know, he was telling me about Delta 10 and shit like that. So I was like, that's pretty cool.
So the benefit being that it gets out of your system in 3 days.
Yes. From what I can tell, or the brief conversation I had with it. I didn't look it up. It's not my thing. is kind of more your side of it and some of the panel because they talk about Delta 8 and, you know, they're into CBDs and shit. But if you're into Delta 8 and you're worried about popping, Delta 10 may actually be an option. But like I said, I don't know anything about it. I was just told about it today. I guess we'll find out in the next couple of weeks and see if it shows up at dispensaries and shit.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be something. That kind of thing's a little bit above my level of focus right now because I'm still trying to figure out the CBD shit. And then just as I'm starting to get into the CBD stuff and say fucking A to this, I lost my ability to grow. So I'm just like, I'm itching to get back to that. And like I said, I've got the Charlotte's Web cross I made. And then those nuclear cherries that Dawn gave me that we're going to play with here real soon as I'm given the shot to be able to do so.
What were we talking about? We were rudely interrupted. Totally forgot what we were talking about. Maybe they remember in chat. Oh, fuck. I fell way behind again. Holy shit.
I jumped in for a second, dude. I give it one scroll down and I'm like, D. Okay. Well.
Yeah.
But Raider mentioned that Delta 10's already out, so.
Oh, okay. So anyway, yeah. So Delta 10. So the benefit being that it's out of your system in 3 days. Now, my opinion, since nobody asked, about like say, okay, 3 days. Well, that's cool, but the first of all, like the stigma around cannabis. It's like when somebody goes to go for a job, they shouldn't have to go through a fucking drug test. Okay, that just doesn't sound right.
I think they should have to go to a drug test for certain drugs.
Just to get the job I'm talking about.
Yeah, now, to get the job.
If there's an event that happens, an accident, whatever, then they are. Then it's my opinion that they and in many cases it does happen where they take. That's the first thing they do is take a blood test if there's an accident and somebody's hurt, killed, or whatever. So that I'm okay with, but to get the job, you shouldn't have to have a drug test. That's all I'm saying.
Depends on the job. If it's something where other people's lives are in danger and you're responsible for paying attention or heavy machinery, then even as a drug addict, I think they probably should have drug tested me before I started doing 90% of the fucking jobs that I did. So, I mean, you know, there's some that can do it, there's some that can't, you know. It's just, you got to worry about the ones that can't function while they're on that drugs. You know, that's the only thing I'm saying. If you're driving a 18-wheeler, I think you should be drug tested. You are driving a serious, deadly fucking machine. And, you know, people might hate me, but I don't think weed should be an issue, personally. Like I said, certain drugs, I don't think weed should be a problem. That's ridiculous.
Sorry, my dog. Yeah, okay, no, I yeah. I guess it just, what bothers me about cannabis is the stigma.
Yeah.
The stigma. And this is just another part of it. Like, it's a small part, and I listen to your argument, and I tend to agree. It's the fucking stigma that goes along with cannabis that really bothers me.
Well, they're phasing it out more in the United States. Like when I left Kodak, they stopped even testing for it, even if you weren't a medical patient, because it was decriminalized. So you didn't get in trouble for having it in your system anymore. The stigma, the leniency, it's fading pretty well over here anyway. I don't know how it is up north or anything like that, but I can tell you at this end, the stigma's definitely lightened a bit. I don't know about going job hunting or anything like that, but individually and in society, it's doing all right. The professional world to go get a job, I do not know.
Yeah. But if somebody has an accident on a job site and that person's responsible, and if they were under the influence, you know, they should be dealt with, right?
Anybody taking their medication in reality is under the influence, even if it's prescribed by a doctor, even if it's narcotics or anything like that. They are under the influence of something in the eyes of the law.
Yeah.
You might be able to argue and say that's what I take, but if you can't handle what you're prescribed, then you should have been talking to your doctor. Like, that's how a doctor covers his ass about not overdosing their patients. You know what I'm saying? Many do. It's one of the highest leading causes of death in the world is malpractice and misdiagnosis. But because of that, and they cover their asses, it falls on you, regardless of whether you're supposed to be on that. If any situation happens, if you happen to have it in your system, there's a very good chance you could be screwed for it. I'm not saying even cannabis. I'm saying, like, if you're prescribed anything, Adderall, like any type of narcotic.
Well, I know when I first got my medical license, my doctor approved the license. And the next, I have to renew it every year. And when I went back to see him the next year, he wouldn't approve it. He wouldn't sign it because of the possibility that I could be in an accident. And if I'm under the influence of cannabis, he could be liable or responsible or whatever. And I at the time I said to him, well, what about when you prescribe, you know, any other drug? And he had an answer for me. It wasn't acceptable, but it was his way of, he just didn't want to sign that piece of paper anymore. Yeah.
Huh.
Is that like your personal doctor you're talking about, Rick, or was it a different doctor?
Absolutely. In 100 Mile, I won't mention the
Yeah,
name.
no, don't go there. But I mean, I was curious because I remember before, like long time before I applied for my medical license, I remember trying to go through the doctors in town there, and they were just like, no, like stonewalling me. And I was like, so you would rather prescribe, like, and I think I brought up opiates or something like that, drugs that'll just kill people, wipe them out by the thousands, and that doesn't bother you? And the doctor just kind of looked at me with, you know, nothing there. Yeah, I guess so. And I was just like, wow, that's weird. Like, just
Regular doctor can prescribe narcotics. A different type of doctor can only prescribe cannabis for the most part. I imagine a cancer doctor could do it, but they're pretty hardcore about their, you know, chemo. So freaking, they're not going to prescribe you cannabis. But you actually around here, we had to go to an actual cannabis doctor to get a cannabis license. I couldn't go to my primary care doctor would have gave it to me, but she wasn't licensed to do so.
Sounds like one-stop shopping. Yeah, no, you got, in Canada, you have to go to a medical doctor. And yeah.
He's a medical doctor, but he's cannabis medical doctor, you know.
Oh, he's medical. He spent 7 years in university, and he's a legitimate medical doctor.
No, he'll give you a checkup. I wouldn't ask him for a prostate exam, but he can give you a checkup, you know, your blood pressure and stuff like that, and then be like, okay, what's your problem? All right, good enough for me.
Yeah, and so what he does is, I guess he must ask you, well, how much do you use a day? And then that's how he fills out the, well, I guess you can call it a prescription, but it's he puts his name on my medical application, which is sent in. And what's my point? I'm rambling. That's no. That is Charlotte's Web, my friend. That's Charlotte's Web. So yeah, now I mean, right now I get my annual renewal from a company that they specialize in cannabis. But
you don't have to see a doctor every time, though, right? You just pay them their money and they renew your card.
The first time I did a video chat with him,
Mm-hmm.
and then since then I've dealt with his secretary or administrator, or whoever she is, and that I've been doing that for years. Yeah. But and so yeah, well, what was my point? So anyway, what he, if I'm not mistaken, it's around here somewhere. I'm not going to go looking for it, but I think my prescription or whatever he approved was 5 grams a day. So 5 grams gives me a license of 55 plants indoors and 15 outdoors. Somehow, between the doctor and Health Canada, they worked out a formula, obviously, and that's what they came up with. But the whole thing is just a big joke. But
I don't think we have it by the day. At any given time, you can't have any more than this particular, like a particular amount. That doesn't mean you can't smoke half of it in one day, get more, and then be back in your number, and nobody knows the wiser.
As a medical grower, I'm allowed to have up to 150 grams on my person at any time. I don't know where my license went to.
Yeah, I think we're allowed a QP, 4 ounces.
Oh yeah. Oh really? Wow.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. 2.5, I believe. 2.5 on person. Like if I'm in the car.
About 190, 100 grams, something like that. Yeah.
But I'm not. I don't see any point in me having to do that.
No.
If I gotta move a QP, it's me and my friend that each have a card, and then we each hold 2 ounces.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to have up to 150 grams on me, but I don't carry that on me. There's no need for me to, but that is what I'm allowed to.
I do have a friend that carries like 7 different jars, and I have 5 concentrates. He came over yesterday, wiped me right out too early in the morning to do concentrates. But I look at him, he's got 3 like backpack type things, and I'm just like, dude, this does not look good in any way, shape, or form. He's like, oh, but I'm allowed this much. I'm like, but you got 8 strains on you, and you got fucking 5 concentrates. You got fucking bubble hat. Like, dude, you don't look organized enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just look like an asshole right now, carrying around 3 backpacks full of jars just because they're different weeds.
If I go on the road working, it's not uncommon for me to pack like maybe 2 to 4 different strains and a couple different kinds of concentrates in there, but it's not like a whole shit ton of jars of them. You're talking like maybe like a half ounce of each strain. If it's a 2-week shift, you'll probably, you'll need a little bit more than a couple little jars, but you know what I mean? Like it's not multiple backpacks worth. It's like, less than.
This is every day. Every day he's like, he carries with him around every day.
Yeah, I'm not that hardcore by any means.
I don't get it. I don't get it. You're just kind of asking for trouble, though. Like, you just look like a douche where cops are just constantly pulling out jar after jar. I mean, they're only like this full and shit. And I'm like, why don't you invest in the smaller jars? You don't look like such a dick because you got a whole mason jar, but it's only this full. But there's 8 of them.
Speaking of mason jars, right beside me here, I got a jar of Violator, which we well know that's a big staple in the area here. But I'm trying Bovita packs for the first time. Can't see me there, because it was a little bit drier than I would like it, so I'm trying to rehydrate a bit. Sorry, my camera's not working too well. See, there you go. So it's 62% Bovita pack, trying to get a little bit more moisture into my weed there and see how that happens. So I've never tried them before. Sorry, I was trying to show the camera and have someone talking to me beside me and finding an ashtray to all this stuff.
Listen about those Bovita packs. I heard a tip on another podcast. It could have been, I watched so many of them, but just a shout out to, I really liked that Organics. What is it? Embracing Organics. I think it was on that show.
Yeah, really great show.
And they were talking about those Bovita packs, and those are reusable. I've been using them for a long time, and I've been throwing them away. All you have to do is just put the pack, in a bag of wet pot, and it'll bring it back to life again. So that thing will last forever.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of these things, I think they cost me $2 down at our local grocery store there, Rick. So that's not bad. That's great to know, because I bought 4 of them thinking I had one for that jar, thinking I'd probably find another use for a second one real quick.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
figured it'd be just good to have another couple to lay around, because it's not the kind of thing I ever think of if I go to a grocery store, because it's not ever been in my repertoire of stuff that I use. And I'm very habit oriented, right? So I've got to introduce stuff slowly before it actually sticks in my mind.
Here's a couple of thoughts. If you're not using those other packs, you may as well throw them in the jar as well, if you got room for them. And what was I going to say about something else? Oh, well, only that it's harder to bring the humidity up rather than the humidity down, but they do work. Or even you could maybe moisten up those other ones and throw them in the jar.
Okay, maybe I will try that, because I was worried about maybe making it too moist, but now that you're talking, that doesn't even make sense.
It will bring it to 62%.
Okay.
Yes, sir. That's what they're designed for. They started originally like with the violins, the Stradivarius, and all those fancy violins, and that's where they began. And so they've been around long. Well, I'm sure cannabis has been around longer, but they've been around. Bovita's been around for a long time.
The moisture pack?
Yeah.
They were around when violins were created. I wonder if that was probably to keep the moisture away from like damaging the string or even the board or anything like that, or warping any of the wood.
I think it's the wood. Yeah, warping the wood.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. I learned something new.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Yeah, but I do believe they work. I have little humidifiers, or I mean like gauges that I use as well. But they do work. Yeah.
I go by scent and feel. Like after a while, you kind of get your timing down. You kind of got to feel, what's going on, and it gets kind of robotic,
The longer you let it cure, the better it becomes.
Oh yeah, but environment determines that. Like sometimes you can't control that. Sometimes you're limited to that. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't just devote a room to be like a humidor. We don't have that luxury. We're battling humidity, we're battling heat, we're battling this, we're battling that, So you try to do your best. But I mean, as far as properly curing it and getting it not to be over dry, that just becomes a technique or a second nature, you know what I'm saying? Like when you feel the bud, you're like, okay. Or when you feel the stem, you're like, okay, now's the time to cut it. I'm gonna have to burp it because you want to be able to burp it because you want to pull the moisture out and everything. You don't want it to be dead dry. So when you put it in a jar, it doesn't produce any moisture. You cured it way too quick. So like you start noticing like with your stems and the buds, depending on the density. Like after a little while, you can kind of determine how long, how much you got to burp it, how long it's really gonna take. I mean, just me personally. That's just how I feel.
I have a room for my where I dry. I have a room there, and I
lucky.
Yeah, but I'm thinking now where I may have been making a mistake. I have a dehumidifier in the room. I've got a dehumidifier, humidifier, heater, like you name it, it's there. Anyway, what I've been doing, I've been setting my dehumidifier for 60%. I think that's the reason I've been drying it too fast. I think I should set it maybe for 80%.
Wait,
Like,
you've been drying your bud. Is
I
it
hang,
with a did you do wet trim or dry trim?
I dry trim, but so I hang it for 10 days.
You dry trim, so you hang it for 10 days. I mean, you did
I,
it at how much? 30, you said?
you cut the whole branch and hang it up and
And
leave it there.
you
And
did it
leave
at 30%?
No. I shoot for 60.
Okay,
But
all right. I thought you said 30. I was like, that's
no, but
pretty low, man.
some of mine this time was around 45. It was bad. It was
See,
bad.
mine was at 30. I couldn't get it up because it was winter. And I mentioned before, I dry in the room where my central air conditioner is, so I got to slow it dry during the summer because the AC is giving off
Yep.
cool air, but in the winter, the unit's pushing off heat, so it dries faster, So it's a pain in the ass. I don't get that quite climate control. Like when I had my dehumidifier on when the heat during the winter, it was at 35. You know what I'm saying? Like so I cut it a little premature off the stem before the stem snapped, so it still had moisture within the bud. Threw it in jars, and then I was burping it a little extra. You know what I'm saying? Just to control that, rather than it being too rapid. Just to keep that 8, 9, 10 curing day. You know what I'm saying? Once the vegetation's out of the chlorophyll, I'm sorry, smell is out of it and everything else.
Yep.
But that's because I'm aware I've been here for a few years. I kind of know I should probably trim after, like, dry trim during the winter when the heat's going. It'll take longer, but I'm a creature of habit, but I know how to accommodate for that a little bit by taking it a little early and just having to do more jar manual. That's why I go for big jars, because then I shake it up and then I only gotta open one jar rather than fucking 20 jars. You know what I'm saying? So because I can do that, if I had to open 20 jars, I would probably do things differently, but I don't.
Yeah. And so my last my last run, I took it down and it was in the middle of winter. It was like early January. So and the humidity is very low here. It's probably like 30% here, like right where it's sitting in this room. It's really dry here. And that probably contributed, but the fact this time I want to I think I was too anxious to get the moisture down to 60%, and I should have been more thoughtful about and that's what I'm going to do this time. I'm going to start around 80% and for the first day or two. Anyway, I ramble on.
No, Rick, I ramble on. You're at least worth listening to.
Yeah, not when I rap. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, it's getting close to the bewitching hour. It's been a good evening. God, it's still. I'm on the West Coast. It's still daylight out.
I was just saying that about 10-15 minutes ago, Rick. My
Yeah,
daughter is out there was just out there riding her bicycle until about 15-20 minutes ago. And it's just like, wow.
Shoot.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You go, mister.
Okay, well, I was just going to say that I sent a group message in the Zoom chat between us here that we'd wrap it up at the top of the hour, but it just kind of seems like it's a good time now to start winding it up. Little shout out to all the boys we got hanging out and chat with us. Boys and girls, I should say, because we've had Crazy Pop Mom and Oh, geez, I can't believe I'm bombing your name on the air. I feel so fucking bad right now.
No,
Little bit. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that to you. Sorry, guys, I can't do. I've too dabbed out. Can't do names right now. Somebody save me.
No, you're absolutely right, man. And thanks again to everybody in the chat for putting up with us. I don't know about you, but I had myself a great time, and good to see you, fellas.
Yeah, Hurtin and Fluff, Mr. Rods, we got them there. Okay, I'm done. No more names. Profit,
Okay,
Rick.
but I wouldn't mind. Boy, oh boy, there's people we haven't seen for a while, and I just want to send out my my love to Opie.
Yeah.
Opie was in there.
Hey.
Opie was in there. Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Oh, he was in the chat today.
I believe I saw him running through. Like I tried to briefly check it out, but there's so much going on. And then like half of our team's actually in the chat, so they can kind of maintain things.
Right on. He posted a picture of, I guess the water came through his property and did one hell of a bit of damage. So I shout out to Opie. Hope everything's going good for you, my friend.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I hope everything's all right. Fucking water sucks, especially when you don't control it.
No, for sure. It can be pretty vicious. Yeah. So anyway, boys, good to see you. Excuse me. We'll. I can't make. Well, no, maybe I can make it Sunday. I'm heading down. I'm going down to see my son tomorrow and back on Sunday. So hopefully, I'll be able to hook up with you guys.
That'll be cool.
We'd love it.
Care.
Caribou, we're on Sunday, Caribou.
Yep. Yeah. So as far for the time being, I'm not working out of town or anything, so I shouldn't be having to work any Sundays. So yes, this schedule should be as it usually is. It just seems like we had a brief hiccup for, I think it was like 2 weeks or whatever there.
It actually seemed like a really long 2 weeks just because we were on for the first week every day for like 4 or 5 days, even though we weren't streaming,
Yeah, and
then I lost track of the schedule. Like somebody's like, "When are you on?" And I'm like, "I have no fucking idea when I'm on anymore. We have been on all week."
Well, I think those started out with those were just gonna originally be just like off-camera chats, like Zooms with us, and then we were just like, "Fuck it, let's get the cameras rolling." And it was a lot. That was my mind just like. For the next day there, it was like there's no way in hell I was going to be doing one on the Monday. But I don't think we've done an off-camera Zoom since then, so we should do more of those because those are a lot of fun.
I don't know. You guys get me rambling on off-camera. What I say on camera is only half of what I say off-camera.
Exactly, which is why we need to do it. And we want to get people. I would love to get people like the Hurtin Albertan and maybe like Mr. Rods. He's always there in the chat with us. Come hang out with us off camera, guys.
Oh, that would be awesome. I don't know how much work we get done if me and Hurtin were on the same Zoom chat though. That's like me and Johnny. We don't get much done.
That's okay. That's what the off-camera Zooms are for, though, right? We're not talking growing knowledge. We're just hanging out, shooting the shit. And I need to apologize. Crazy Pop Mom, she sent a DM to me through Cannabis saying she'd like to be on the show next time we have like a community session. Friday nights are community sessions, guys. I forgot to post the link in the live chat so you guys can just jump on with us. Anytime it's a Friday, if I'm not doing that, feel free to light me up like a freaking Christmas tree and say, "Hey, asshole, put the Zoom in chat or link in the chat so you can step on with us." Because this literally is what Friday nights are for everybody to come hang out and you can swap theories back and forth with Profit.
Hey, Caribou, I've noticed a few times only because the last couple of nights, last couple of shows you've had to take off. People are, I think last Friday you did. People are asking or whatever, and it ain't my business to give it out because it's yours. So if you're not there, if you'd like, I can cover that on Fridays too. But I'm not going to hand out the account. It's yours.
Yeah. Okay, we can do that.
because Sam started posting it, because Sam was like, I got it, and then he started posting it or whatever, and that's how we got Grow Guy on there.
Yep. Yeah, no, I'm completely fine with that.
Okay.
If we're doing, when we're doing these shows and post that stuff up, Sam's actually he's the one that's gotten the links to the last couple of guests too.
He has a guest coming actually fucking Tuesday, right? Yeah, I can't remember his name. I gotta look through again. It was 300 messages this morning. I was like, oh my god.
That shit's intense, man. And it's crazy. I just got a new phone that it's my old phone. I was able to have all the Cannabis notifications on silent, so I wouldn't know about them until I at least looked at my phone. Now they make sound. And so if I have my earbuds in while I'm working, and it'll just be like, I'll have music playing and my music keeps getting interrupted, going beedle boop, beedle boop, beedle boop.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, 300 messages in a fairly short period of time. It's like you can't listen to music like that.
No, you can't.
No, but anyways, Prophet brother, it's always a blast talking with you, man.
Always Caribou.
We'll see you Sunday morning, but I'll be talking to you much sooner than that, brother. I love you.
Yeah, man.
Get you next time.
Later, bro.
Everybody in chat that's still with us, we all love you. We'll see you Sunday night or Sunday morning. Fuck Sunday night. What the hell am I thinking? That's the Wake and Bake Show. The Wake and Bake Show is my favorite because I'm a morning person. I like getting up and getting real fucking high with my friends. So we're going to do that. And we'll see